Hello guys, my name is Alex and welcome back for AOR, this time for the Singapore Grand Prix. And currently you can see the driver's table after the last round in Italy, where we had quite a tricky round, a lot of problems and concentration issues, and let's hope that it doesn't continue like this in the rest of the season. But yeah, we are now in P5, we dropped the position to Ollie, so yeah, let's see whether we are able to fight back and gain the position back. And currently you can see the qualifying lap. I think in practice I was able to do a 30.0 or 29.9 with a perfect lap. So not too great the pace, but in the race it should be a lot better because I use the setup which especially works in the race. It's important to have good tire temperatures around here because on the hypersofts they overheat quite quickly, and my plan was basically to save them as much as possible. And the reason I went for the hypersoft tires was because Michael and we both wanted the track position. We thought it might be difficult to get past even with better tires, and especially in the midfield there can be a lot of contacts and incidents, and our plan was just to stay out of trouble and save our tires and drive quietly at the front. And currently the lap is not too bad, maybe a few slight mistakes like this one, a bit deep, but in general not too bad. And it's very difficult to get a good lap here because there are a lot of really tricky corners. The braking zones are not that easy to hit, or not all of them are easy, and this one can be also quite tricky. It's easy to get your lap invalidated there, but we managed it quite nicely and we are going now over the line, and we set a point 4 which was actually not ideal. I think I could go a lot quicker, but P6 is not too bad considering our tire wear is much better, I think, compared to the others. And you can see we are now starting in P5, which is basically because Lucas had a penalty. And here we go, we get a decent launch off the line. We are already challenging Ollie, but it's difficult to make a move here because the next turn is a left-hander and we have Clarky on our left, so we have to be careful in order to not hit anyone. And so far it's a decent start. We didn't lose a position, and yeah, it's without damage, which is an improvement compared to the last race. So now it's about saving the tires as much as possible, backing off quite a lot, because if you push one lap the tires will overheat, and it's quite a huge difference between when you push and when you are driving a bit slower. It can affect the tire wear quite a lot, and already in lap 4 you can see Finn is struggling with his tires, and Ollie and we saved ours quite well. And you can see he's challenging up into the left-hander and he makes the position stick, and we try to overtake him as well, but it's difficult in this right-hander, so we are staying behind. And you can see our tire temperatures are actually not too bad. We are under 100 degree, which is really good, and just at the end we hit the 100 mark, which was a bit surprising. In training I was able to save them a lot more, but we are now going for the overcut. The others are going into the pits, and when you're on harder compound of tires, especially the softs, they take a bit of time till they really rubber in, and my plan was basically to push on this lap, and maybe I can get past at least one of them, or if not both. And you can see as well that we underfueled the car, which is basically in order to use lean in the slow speed corners, which helps the traction and the oversteer as well. And you can see I managed this corner not really good, which is because my right rear is a bit too hot. I think 101 degree at this point, which is not ideal and a bit surprising. I think in training I was able to get at least into lap 6 or 7 without overheating tires, but maybe the dirty air has a little factor on the tire temps. And you can see we are not that far off our personal best, although the personal best was not that quick. I think everyone at the top was saving the tires, and you can see the gap to Michael stays exactly the same. And I think our pace in general was quite similar. He was much quicker in qualifying than I was, but in the race I think we had similar speed, especially at the end of the stints. And we are going now into the pits, slow it down in time, and we are going now out of the pits. And at this point I thought we might have a good chance to finish on the podium. We're going out of the pits and we are able to jump Finn, which is really cool. And I think at the moment we are in a net P4 behind Ollie. And for now it's about keeping our position because we have to deal with the cold tires. And Finn is not really able to challenge us, but you can see later that lap we are having quite a lot of understeer, which is normal in the first lap, and you can see he goes for the inside. We are leaving him a little bit of space so he doesn't make contact with our car, and at the end we were able to stay ahead. But now it was crucial to push like crazy because my plan was not to stick behind those guys. My plan was actually to attack the cars ahead, and you can see at the moment we are the fastest car on track and we closed the gap to Ollie quite quickly. And now let's see, we're in lap 9 and are we able to challenge him into after the long straight? I think we might be a bit too far away. Although we ran quite low fuel, low wings. You can see we're gaining quite a lot, but we are not close enough this lap, so we are backing off. I'm braking early and maybe stay close till the last few corners in front of the next straight. And we basically managed that. We got our first warning in that lap, so we have to be careful. And you can see Ollie made a slight mistake in turn 1, which gives us the opportunity maybe to challenge him after the straight. It's basically the only opportunity you have to overtake. There are a few others, but you need to have quite a significant difference in terms of tires. And at the end we are going around the outside, make the move stick up into net P3 now, and now it's about maybe close the gap to Ollie and to Flores ahead. And I think I had the pace to do so, but now you can see we have to deal with a few cars which didn't pit so far, which is normal, but I think those guys were defending a bit, which cost Michael and me a lot of time, which is really, or which will be really important, as you will see in a second, because while this fighting was going on, the people who started outside the top 10, they had basically clean air on the softs, and they were able to do their own race. And after that they will pit onto the ultra soft tires, and they will have a huge advantage in terms of tires and pace. And for us it's about creating a gap now, drive as fast as possible. But again, you can see we are stuck behind Big C, and this is basically the worst thing that can happen. We were not able to get past, and you can see we are losing a lot of time now, because at the rest of the track it's basically impossible to overtake if you don't want any kind of contact. And now you can see we are fast forwarding a bit just to show you that, or how much time you can actually lose behind another car. And while all this is going on, basically the people outside the top 10 are closing or extending their gap, however you want to call it. But yeah, at this point I thought, well, I'm losing time, but maybe due to penalties or if the tires of the cars ahead drop off, I might have a chance to still win this race. And now we are in lap 21 and you can see we are much closer this time. We're going for the inside and we were able to make the move stick, although it cost us a lot of time. You can see we are 2.5 seconds behind Michael, and basically a few laps later I was quite surprised. As you will see in a second, we are now in lap 22 and behind us are the people on Ultras, and you can see they are over 2 seconds quicker. So we might have a little problem in a few laps time because they are just so much quicker. You can see the gap to Michael ahead stays the same, but already in lap 25 Roy is behind us and he's much quicker, and at this point I decided to let him go. It's no use to fight him. He is so much quicker and his speed in general is really strong, so there's no point in fighting him too much. And you can see Jarno is behind him, and I think for the rest of the cars I fought them a bit more because I knew some of them had penalties, and I was also hoping that if their tires go off or overheat, I might be able to get them back at the end of the race. And you can see we tried to stay ahead on the straight, but Jan was able to make the move stick. And now we have Nardi behind us, and I knew he had quite a lot of penalties, and I already could see that Roy was extending the gap, so my plan was to stay ahead, and I pushed like crazy in order to keep up with the guys. And you can see one of the results of that was that I got a 3-second penalty, which is actually really frustrating because I basically got 2 warnings in the space of half a lap or a lap, and before that I basically had just 1 warning after I think 25 or 26 laps, so quite frustrating. And now it's about staying ahead of Nardi. We got the DRS from Jarno ahead, but as it seems he's not going for the move, so we are able to stay ahead and save our P5, but I think it will be very difficult to stay there because they are just so much quicker. It's insane what the difference is like, and Michael and I, we were really surprised about how quick or not how quick they were challenging us, but what the gap was like, because normally you would expect that in P15 or P16 that you lose a lot of time on a track where overtaking is difficult, but yeah, somehow they were able to just, I don't know, create a gap, or I don't know, I have no explanation how they did that, but it's really remarkable from them. It's quite an achievement in driving in traffic and don't lose time or too much time compared to the leaders. And currently you can see my fastest lap, and it was actually a really fast lap for my tires. Remember, I pitted really early on, and a 0.9 is not too bad on really old softs. And you can see Nardi tries to go up on our inside. There was a bit of contact, but it was not too bad, I think. And now we have to defend on the next straight, which will be very difficult because he has the DRS and better traction. And again, we try to stay ahead also in order to save the guys ahead. Save Michael, for example, because I knew he had the pace to win this race, and yeah, I tried to help him a little bit with this. And now we have Tim right behind us, and he was really quick as well. And you can see in lap 30 we were fighting quite a bit in this lap, which is the reason I lost a bit of time, but at the end I gave up my position because I think Tim has had no penalty, so there's not much point in really fighting him, because since we have a penalty now, it's about getting as close as possible to the leaders. Maybe if some of them have 6 seconds penalties, we might gain a few positions, And now you can see this was actually quite fun and dangerous at the same point, because I think Flores ahead, he fought quite aggressively with the others, and you can just see how many people or how many cars there were in a short space. And yeah, it was actually quite a lot of fun, and we might have a chance to gain another few positions maybe. And you can see there's again fighting between, I think, Flores and Nardi now, and it's actually really interesting. The whole race was a lot of fun. Although we were not on the right strategy, it was just amazing to fight that much. And yeah, I enjoyed this race quite a bit, and it's just unfortunate, as always, that it seems that we get the wrong strategy or some kind of bad luck. And you can see Roy was able to win the race. He did an exceptional job. It was just amazing how he fought his way through the field and win the race. That really deserves a lot of credit. And here we have the final results. We move up to P5, which is a bit unfortunate, because without the 3-second penalty, I think I could have got P3, maybe P2. And yeah, never mind. Here you can see the driver's table after this round. We were able to get past Ollie again for P4, so a good race for once. And that was the race. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one as well. Goodbye.